Hello, Mr. Fry's Algebra 1 class. I am looking at the system of equations, applications, and want to walk you through the odd ones. Hopefully that'll help you answer the even ones and you can get this assignment done. This is a long assignment, just because there's a lot to think about and a lot to do with solving these. But let's get started. Number one, the sum of two numbers is 30 and their difference is 12. So the sum is 30, the difference is 12. So find the two numbers. So when you take in these two, you could add the system. This is set up for elimination. I have a plus y and a minus y right here. So I have x plus x is 2x. 30 plus 12 is 42. You could just add those systems right up as they are, and then you'll be able to isolate the x variable and get 42 divided by 2 is 21, x equals 21. Go ahead and plug that back into either one of these. I chose the first one. You should get the same answer for either one. So 21 minus y equals 30, and that would equal 30. Y would equal 30 minus 21, which is 9. And when you go back in, you should be able to plug these numbers back in and they should make sense. So 21 plus 9, that would equal 30. 21 minus 9, that would equal 12. So it works. Number 3, the difference between two numbers is 9. So the difference is 9. The first number plus twice the other number is 27. So the first number plus twice the second is 27. So we have this. In order to figure this one out, I ended up using substitution. So I changed this to, I wanted to get x by itself. So I just know what x equals. X is going to equal y plus 9. So I plug in this y plus 9 where there is x. So now I have y plus 9 instead of x plus 2y equals 27, right? So 2y plus 1y is 3y, and I still have this 9. I subtract 9 from both sides, and I get 18, and this 3y remains. I divide both sides by 3, and I get y equals 6. I go ahead and plug in the 6 to the easier problem, which I think is the first problem. So x minus 6 equals 9. I add 6 to both sides, and I get x equals 15. For number 5, the sum of two numbers is 20. The difference between 3 times the first number and twice the second is 40. Find the two numbers. Okay, I went ahead and plugged this in, this x value in for this, and I end up getting negative y plus 20. I plug that value in for x. So I had the 3x over here. I end up getting, I end up using the distributive property, and I end up getting negative 3y plus 60 plus y equals 20. Negative 3y and a plus a y is going to take me to negative 2y. I just bring everything else down. I subtract 60 from both sides, and I end up getting negative 40 divided by negative 2 gives me 20y equals 20. I plug in 20 here, so x plus 20 equals 20, and x equals 0. So if I plug this into this problem, 20 times 2 is 40 minus 0 equals 40. And 0 plus 20 would equal 20 also. Number 7, the cost of 3 boxes of envelopes and 4 boxes of notebook paper is $13.25. 2 boxes of envelopes and 6 boxes of notebook paper cost $17. Find the cost of each. So here I have the 3 boxes of envelopes and the 4 boxes of notebook paper equaling the $13.25. And here I have the 2 boxes of envelopes and the 6 boxes of notebook paper equaling 17. What I do is I want to come up with something to where these numbers, I'll be able to eliminate something. So I'm looking at the 3 and the 2. I want them to equal 6. In fact, I want this one to equal -6. So in order to do that, I got to multiply everything by -3 down here on the bottom. In order to get this to be 6, I need to multiply everything up here by 2. Okay? When I do that, I multiplied every term by 2, every term by -3. Sorry, this is so ugly, but I had the wrong number there for a second, and it wasn't working out right, and I had to change it. -3 is correct, though, so that's what you need to see. And so this ends up being -6x minus 18y equals a -51. That's -51 there. So these x's cancel out. That's why I did it. And I have 8 minus 18 gives me -10y. And 26.5 minus 51 gives me a -2450. That divided by -10 gives me $2.45, and that's the notebook paper. I plug in that 245 in for my y, and I chose the second equation to do that. Just seemed to be easier. And so I multiply that, and I get this. Subtract this from both sides. Isolate the variable, divide both sides by 2, and I get $1.15 for the envelopes. For number 9, we have a Gabby and Sydney thing. She bought pens and pencils. And so Gabby bought 4 pens and 5 pencils, and the total was $6.71. Sydney bought 5 pens and 3 pencils, and the total was $7.12. So what we're going to do is we're going to multiply everything. I picked the 3 and the 5, and I want to be able to do elimination. So by doing that, I'm going to multiply everything by 3 in the top. So this whole line, I multiply everything by 3. That's the new top line. Then I multiply everything down here if I want this to be -15. And I almost wrote plus 15 there, you can see. You're going to multiply everything on the bottom by -5. So you end up with a -25x and so on. I add these two together. So 15 plus a -15, these cancel out. 12 minus the 25, or 12 plus a -25, however you want to think of it, is -13x. Then I have $20.13 minus $35.60, and I get -15.47. I divide this by the -13, and I get $1.19 for the pens. I plug in the $1.19 into either one of these, and I chose the first one. Instead of x, you'll see $1.19 now. I use the distributive property. I just multiply those. And then I subtract 476 from both sides, and then I divide by 5. And I get y equals 39 cents for the pencils. So 39 cents for the pencils is what you should be getting, and $1.19 for the pens. Okay, number 11. There's a lot of numbers in this just because there's big numbers. But a garden supply sells 2 types of lawnmowers, and you have like a smaller mower and a larger mower, and all of them, they sold 30 altogether. So the smaller mower costs this much, the larger costs this much. And this is the total that they gained from selling all these small and large mowers. What I did was I'm going to do some substitution. So I just want to get x by itself on one side. So by doing that, I subtract y from both sides. So I get x equals -y plus 30. And so I plug that in for my x value. And then I just use the distributive property, and I get these amounts. And then I combine my like terms here. Then I subtracted the 7,499 because I want to get y by itself. I subtract this amount from both sides. And I get 80y equals 880. 880 divided by 80 is 11. So there's 11 larger mowers. I plugged that 11 into the easier problem. Obviously, it's going to be the first one. And so I just subtract 11 from both sides. 30 minus 11 is 19, so there's 19 smaller mowers. Hopefully you're pausing this along the way because that's a lot to write. I imagine you are. Number 13. A group of 40 children attended a baseball game, so 40 children. Some of them bought hot dogs that were $2.25, and some of them bought popcorn that was $1.75. And then the total amount of money that this place made on popcorn and hot dogs was $83.50. The total bill, I guess I should say, for just the kids that went. So I want to do substitution, so I'm going to substitute x for negative y plus 40. I just got x by itself. So I plug in this negative y plus 40 in for x. You can see I did the distributive property. I combined my like terms. And since I was running out of room here, I combined my like terms and I subtracted 90 from both sides. So 83.50 minus 90 gave me the negative 6.5. Now I'm going to divide both sides by the negative 0.5 and I get 13. Y equals 13. That's the popcorn. I plug that 13 into that first problem because that's the easier one instead of y. Because y equals 13, I plug in 13 for y. And then to get x by itself, I subtract 13 from both sides, and I get x equals 27, so there are 27 hot dogs that were sold. For 15, adult tickets for the school musical sold for $3.50. So we have adults and kids, and altogether there were 321 tickets sold. The adult tickets were $3.50. The kids' tickets were $2.50, and the total amount that they made on the play or the musical was $937.50. So what I did was I got x by itself so that I could substitute in for x a y value, which is negative y plus 321. The way I did that is I just subtracted y from both sides. And I plugged that value in for x. Instead of x, now it's negative y plus 321. I use the distributive property, and here's the rest of the problem I just brought down. I combine my like terms, my y's. I subtract 1,123.5 from both sides. And then I don't want to know what negative y equals. I want to know what y equals. So if I change the sign on this side, I have to change the sign on this side. So y equals 186 students. So I plugged that 186 into that first problem because that's the easier problem. And I'm just going to subtract 186 from both sides. So 321 minus 186 gives me 135. X equals 135. So there's 135 adult tickets sold and 186 student tickets sold. Last two, number 17. Mary had a collection of nickels and quarters. So all of her coins, her nickels and her quarters, she had 42 coins altogether. So she had the nickels are worth 5 cents. And the quarters are worth 10 cents. Okay, so she had 42 nickels and quarters, and we have the amount that they're worth added up to $4.90. So how many of each did she have? Well, I'm going to set my x equal to negative y plus 42 by subtracting y from both sides. Now this x value becomes negative y plus 42. I plug that value in for x. And then I'm going to multiply, and then I just bring down the rest of the problem. Then I'm going to multiply, use the distributive property, 5 cents times negative y, and it becomes this, and you can see the rest of the problem there. I combined my like terms, and because I was running out of room, I subtracted 2.1 from both sides. So 2.8 divided by 0.2 to get y by itself gives me 14. Remember, y represented the quarters. Y represented the quarters. So there's 14 quarters. Then I go back into that first problem, and I'm going to take x plus y. My y is 14, so x plus 14 equals 42. I just subtract 14 from both sides. 42 minus 14 gives me 28, so I had 28 nickels. Okay, number 19. Your math teacher tells you that on the next test, there's a test worth 100 points and contains 38 problems. Now, there are 38 problems, so there's two types of problems and they equal 38 problems, right? Some of them are multiple choice and they're 2 points each, so 2 points each for the multiple choice, plus 5 points each for the word problems, and all the points equal 100. So I got to put the points with the points and just the number of problems with the number of problems. So just make sure you're not mixing up those two. You know what I mean? Like don't put x plus y equals 100 and then the points equal how many problems there are. You know, have the points with the points and the number of problems with the number of problems. So I'm just going to set this to figure out what x equals by subtracting y from both sides. I do that and I get negative y plus 38. I plug that in for the x value. I multiply the 2 times the negative y and the positive 38. I combine my like terms and I subtract 76 from both sides. I do that in that step because it takes too much room. We don't have a lot of room in this. Then I divide both sides by 3 and I get 8 word problems. Y equals 8 word problems. So I plug in that 8 into that first problem because that's the easiest. X plus y is now 8, equals 38. I subtract 8 from both sides and that tells me what x equals. X equals 30, so there's 30 multiple choice. So I really hope this helped. Probably going to be doing this over a couple of days, so I probably gave you too much in one video, but you can refer back to this video at a later date as you're doing more problems.